and welcome to another episode of the WealthRabbit podcast. I'm Charles.
And I'm Jason.
Thanks for joining us.
And we got producer Caleb, who will not speak again.
That's true. Producer Caleb is here.
Never.
And we've named all of our people who are listening.
Oh, yes, that's right.
You guys are bad bunnies.
Bad bunnies.
Bad bunnies.
Bad bunnies. So let us know what
Welcome,
you think
bad
about
bunnies.
that. Welcome, bad bunnies. Thank you for joining the WealthRabbit podcast, where we talk about all things retirement investing.
Yes.
And yeah, whatever else might come up. Last time it was a history
And we would
lesson.
encourage our listeners, send us emails and maybe you guys have questions.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll answer them.
Send us your questions. Yeah, we'll talk about
Where
it
do
for
they
sure.
send them to?
Support at wealthrabbit.com.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why not?
We'll send it to
Let's have the support people.
Let's have
handle
them
it.
sort it out.
Yeah. Support at wealthrabbit.com.
Let's do it.
What are we talking about today, Charles?
All right. Today we're talking about the different types of retirement plans. So we went into this a little bit last episode on the difference between 401ks, IRAs, and what's right for you.
Yeah.
We haven't touched anything on traditional versus Roth, tax treatment of these things.
No. We've got a lot to talk about.
There's so much to talk about. So anyway, this podcast will run forever for this reason. So yeah, let's talk about
I think there's a
this.
lot of confusion around this.
Yeah.
Okay, so
What is the big confusion you typically see?
So let's start with there's stuff that you can do as an individual without, and there's stuff you can do via your business. So when you set up a retirement account, you have to think about that. There's different reasons why you can have both potentially.
Right.
So if you're an employee of a business and you're contributing to their SIMPLE IRA or their 401k, you could potentially also do an individual retirement account or an IRA as well. So for individuals, there's IRAs, and then there's two types of IRAs. There's the traditional and there's the Roth.
Okay.
So traditional means you get a tax deduction now. It's pre-tax, it grows tax-free, and then when you take it out, you pay tax. A Roth, you don't get a tax deduction now. It's post-tax, grows tax-free, and then when you take it out, you don't have to pay tax.
Okay. So traditional, you're getting a tax advantage now based on what you contribute to it. And the Roth, you're getting that tax advantage later based on the potential growth of those assets.
That's right.
Okay. Fantastic. So
Now, Charles, you might ask me,
Yes.
when would you do Roth for traditional?
Yeah. Let's talk about that. So, yeah.
So-
when would you do a Roth versus a traditional, Jason?
So you have, a lot of it has to do with,
I would assume.
now if I knew when you were going to die,
Yeah.
exactly, I could tell you exactly what to do. We could run the calculation. We don't always know that when we're doing tax planning.
Right.
So the key, there's a couple factors. One is, what's your tax bracket now? What's your tax bracket going to be later? How long are you going to live? How old are you now? So if you're young, I would say in general below 50. Sometimes a Roth can make sense after that. But if you're below 50, you're in a low tax bracket. Like, you want to do a Roth because ideally you're taking all this money, you have a long time to invest it, it grows tax free, and then when you take it out, you're either going to be in the same tax bracket or maybe even a higher tax bracket at the time. When you want to do traditional is when you're in the highest tax bracket or one of the highest tax brackets, and we think you're going to be in a lower tax bracket. So if you're making a lot of money now, but when you retire, you're just living off Social Security and your dividends and maybe, your IRA, that's a good time to do traditional too.
Gotcha.
So, and those theories apply for traditional and Roth simples and traditional Roth 401ks too, when you're an employee or employer. And what's cool, our little bad bunnies, is that starting in 2025, you can do Roth in a simple IRA, which we're very excited about. We're going to be one of the first people to launch that.
Fantastic.
We have to wait for our software vendors to catch up, but it'll be sometime in the first quarter of 2025. So you'll be able to do Roth via simple.
Okay. Was that part of the Secure Act?
Yep. That's a new law that was passed a few years ago, but is finally taking effect in 2025. So that's going to be a big deal for everyone. So I'm a big Roth proponent. Like, you're basically taking money and it's growing tax free and you never have to pay tax on it. The only time you have to pay tax if you take it out before you're 59 and a half and the earnings, you have to pay a 10% penalty. So with all retirement plans, you don't the idea is it's for retirement, and you don't take it out till you're 59 and a half. There's other rules too. That's a slight simplification of everything.
Right.
But yeah, I love a Roth.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
If you've got that option, great thing to do. If not, the traditional is still good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're putting money in retirement and the growth is tax-free. So you're still getting lots and lots of years of tax-free growth, which is a big deal.
Okay. So even in a traditional, you're getting the growth is still tax-free? And so when you pull
until
it
you
out,
take it out. So
okay.
yeah, when you take it out, you have to pay
you're
tax.
not paying tax on
You're
it,
not paying tax along the way.
You're not on unrealized gains.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
Well, is there any situation where you'd be paying tax on unrealized gains?
No.
I mean, not
Not
in traditional retirement plans.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's what's nice about in retirement plans too, is you can trade in there and you can take gains and you don't pay tax until you take it out of the account. Whereas in a regular brokerage account, whenever you make a trade, that's a taxable event.
Gotcha.
So there's a play there. If you have a brokerage account, if you have taxable money, that's in a brokerage account, and then you have a retirement plan, how you structure those investments, like you might want to have stuff that's throwing off dividends potentially in the retirement account, so that's not taxable. So there's a lot of plays you can do there, and a good investment advisor will know how to structure your accounts.
Gotcha.
That way.
Okay. All right. Fantastic.
Stuff to think about.
Yeah.
Bet you've never thought about that, bad buddies.
The bad bunnies are thinking about it.
They're thinking right now.
They're thinking
They're
hard.
popping their heads up out of that hole, and they're like, "Oh, baby."
Those ears perked up.
Yeah.
What? Yep. You had mentioned the different types of plans, 401ks versus IRAs. What do people have the option to do if they're in a company and the company does not offer any sort of IRA or 401k? You can still do one yourself.
You can do an IRA, an individual retirement account.
Okay, gotcha.
Most likely.
Can people come in directly with WealthRabbit and do that if you don't have an?
Not currently.
Not
we
currently.
are going to set up where you can eventually do IRAs, but not currently. But future.
Future. Probably.
We'll let you know when that's ready, bad buddies.
Contribution limits. So let's talk about that. So
that's a big factor in what you're going to do. So the current IRA contribution limit $7,000 per person. If you're over 50, it's an extra $1,000. So that's $8,000.
Yeah.
So that's an individual retirement account. With Simple, it's $16,500. So
a lot more.
And then with a 401k, it's $23,000. There's catch-ups if you're over 50, and then there's a new catch-up if you're between 60 and 63. Who knows why they came up with that? Because once you turn 64, it goes back to the other catch-up. So
Interesting.
it's only those 3 years. But yeah, so you can do more.
There was a 60-something writing that law.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, somene's like, I'm going to be 61.
actually, I'm going to
Give me
special
that.
rule.
And then I'm going to die at 64, and I'm not going to need it.
Sorry, I cut you off there.
But yeah, so when you're deciding, like, it's almost always better if your employer offers a plan, like you should put money there. Hey, you're getting free, like they're most likely doing a match.
Whatever the match is.
So you're getting free money there. And normally, like you can do more. So, with the Simple, you can do 16,500. With the 401k, you can do 23,000. Those are the 2024 limits, I think, or they're somewhere around there. So that's the way to go. So if you're an employee, do that. And then if you still have money left over and you want to do additional, you can do an IRA. You just have to check. There's income limits. If you're making too much money, you can't contribute to an IRA or a Roth. If you're an employer and you're deciding what type of plan I should set up, if all you care about is deferrals for yourself, and you're like, hey, I just want to do 7,000. I don't care about my employees. Then like you don't need to set up a retirement plan. You just do a traditional IRA. But if you want to do more than that, you need to set up a plan with your business. And then that's when you need to figure out what plan is right for you and what you want to give your employees.
Have we talked access and withdrawal? We haven't really talked access and withdrawal.
Basically, if you're going to withdraw something from your retirement plan, if you do it before 59 and a half, there's almost always a 10% penalty.
Yeah.
There's obviously lots of different laws and different things if it's inherited, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Right.
But in general, if it's your retirement plan and you're under 59 and a half, you pay a 10% penalty plus you pay tax on it.
Yeah.
So the idea is you want to wait at least till 59 and a half.
Right.
Now, you don't have to take out the money until you reach RMD, which is required minimum distribution age. For most people listening to this, that'll probably be 75. Under current law, that could change. So when you turn 75, you have to start taking money out of your traditional. For the Roth, you don't ever have to take money out.
Interesting.
And the theory behind that is, you know, the government just doesn't want money sitting in a retirement account and you never pay tax until your heirs get it.
Gotcha.
So they want you to take out a certain amount. It ends up being about 4% to start, and then as you get older, like when you get up to 100, it's like 50%. So it's basically like, hey, you need to take this money out.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, this has been fantastic, Jason. This has been very interesting.
We appreciate all the bad buddies listening.
Yeah. And if you have questions, please, send them over.
Support at WealthRabbit.com.
Support at WealthRabbit. Send them over.
The WealthRabbit podcast is a production of WealthRabbit, located in sunny Rock Hill, South Carolina. WealthRabbit is the first digitized platform designed to make simple IRA management effortless. We're on a mission to empower small businesses to invest in their team's financial future without the headaches. No hidden fees, no complicated processes, just retirement planning made simple. Go to wealthrabbit.com now to learn more. The views and opinions expressed on the WealthRabbit podcast are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect or state the opinions of WealthRabbit. Comments and remarks on this podcast should not be construed as tax, legal, or other investment advice. Please consult your tax, legal, or investment professional. All investments involve risk. Past performance does not guarantee future results, including the risk of loss. Investments are not FDIC insured.